Hi guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today we're going to be making this fun card with Christmas ornaments that twinkle. So we're going to get started by stamping out our focal image out of the retro holiday and stamp set from Simon Hurley. This is just so pretty. I'm sorry. I really love all of the things on here, but what we're going to focus on today is just the ornaments. So I'm just going to stamp it in some VersaFine Clair Nocturne, and then we're going to emboss these guys up. So I'm going to start coloring up some of my Christmas ornaments. And I picked out some purple and blue and red. Yeah, a little bit different, but anyway, that's what I'm going to go with. And so for my purples, I've got 3 colors. And that's kind of what I'm going to stick with. I'm going to start off with the RP1. That one is the lightest color. And I'll go with this one. And I'm going to focus the lighter color in the center of our ornament. Okay. I usually start darkest to lightest, but this time I kind of want to make sure I've got a good base layer of my lightest right in the center, because I have a tendency to kind of... I have a tendency to blend out almost too much. So now I'm coming back in with a thin little line on the edge of my P2, and then I'm going to do a little bit of flicking to bring it out just a little bit, and then I'll come in with my midtone, and hopefully that'll give us a nice rounded look. I told you, I am working on experimenting and practicing with my colored markers, my alcohol markers. These are a new set to me, but part of that is because I have not done a lot of coloring for a while. And I want to get back at it. I do like it. It is therapeutic. It is calming. But I also love all the other things, like die cutting, hot foil, lights, and all the things. Anyway, that is our P2, and then I'm going to come back in with P1. Which is going to be our mid color, and hopefully that will be a good blend between them. I also do not know yet what the good blends are for my markers, because I haven't practiced with them enough yet, and I have not done a good swatching of them yet. So that is coming, and eventually I will get my favorite color combinations figured out. This, I think, is turning out pretty good. So I'm doing a decent job of guesswork. Okay, let's come back in with that lightest color and blend it all together. And I am coming over the darkest into the lightest, pulling some of that color. And there we go for our first ornament. I think I need a little bit more dark color up at the top. And that's one of the nice things with this. You can keep going until you get the look that you want. And if you go too far, which I have done before, if you go too far, you can always start over. It is just paper. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go on with the other ones. So I've got, like I said, I've got some red and blue, and we're going to do those next. For the blue, I'm going to start off with the darkest, which is B180. Yes, I know, I keep changing my mind. I also noticed that there are these little lines on each of the baubles that basically kind of I think it's a little bit of a shadow before there's a little bit lighter on the outside. So we're going to try that. I'm probably not going with light enough colors, but... So we're going to start off with that one, just adding that one little line there, and then I'm going to add a little bit of darkness around this. Well, first off, for the shadow behind our other ornament, because they are overlapping, right? But then also for this little circle part, which I feel is probably recessed. It's kind of how these vintagey ones were made, right? And just bring in a little bit more of that darker just for some dimension. Then we're going to come in with the medium. This one is B080. It's called Princess Blue, I think. The letters are so little. Goodness. So we're going to bring some of that in. Not a lot because we want to leave enough for our lightest. And then, of course, I can always darken it up later if I want to, right? Okay, that's it. And I'm going to bring in our lightest blue. We're going to see how this is going to look. And I think that turned out exactly like I wanted it. Fabulous. So doing about the same kind of thing for our red bauble. So for the red, the dark red is R180 and the lighter one is RV350. And I think that turned out pretty good. So for our little toppers here, the little metal pieces, I'm just using a couple of colors of gray. I've got GG9 as the darkest and then GG040 as the lighter. And I'm doing the same thing that we've been doing, adding a little bit of shade actually on that little the little line that was so nicely added on there, and then going back over it with the lighter to blend it all out. And that finishes up those lovely ornaments. Now, y'all have seen me do this before. I'm going to die cut out our ornaments, and I want to make sure that it's as perfect as I can around the outside. I don't want anything cut off that's not supposed to be, and for that I'm going to use my magnetic magic mat. I'm loving this. Anyway, I've been using a magic mat for years, since they first came out. I've been using it basically for all my die cutting. And the magnetic magic mat is even better because it holds the die in place. Now, the only time I'm really using that is when I am doing stamped images and I want to get perfect die cutting around them. Now, you do have to be careful placing your plate over the top because I've done it before. You can slide that with physical force. Yes, it's not glued in place. You can move it. But if you don't, you get something like that. I think that is just lovely. Yay! So my idea is that I'm going to have a light behind our 3 little ornaments. We've got our twinkle lights, and this is how the mechanism comes. It has 3 little lights on the end, and then you've got your controller. So if you've used the Easy Light, you're familiar with the whole wire system, okay? So let's go ahead and see what these guys do that make them different from the Easy Light. Okay, we're going to pop our battery in and hit the button. Okay, in order to see it, I need to separate our little lights. We've got 3 little lights on 3 little wires, and when you hit the button, they're not in sync. So that is one of the things that makes this light so cool. But it works basically the same way that our Easy Light does. I've even created, in case you're wondering, created a template for the Easy Light that will work with this, even though the mechanism is a little longer. This is basically just to give you an idea of where to put the controller piece, okay? So what I have to decide now is, where do I want to put, number 1, put my lights, and put my baubles, and where do I want to put my lights? So I am gonna, so we can either put them behind our individual baubles there, or try to go through the entire cardstock. I think we're going to have to go through just the baubles, and that's fine. That means I need to position this and then figure out where on our ornament do we want those to go, and then poke a hole and then attach this to the back. So that is what I'm going to do. And I'm also planning on trimming the panel down a little bit more. This is actually 2 pieces of an embossing folder panel that I did using one of the Spellbinders embossing folders. I will leave a link down to everything that I've used down in the description. And I think I'm going to use, well, it doesn't really matter what color pencil. I was thinking about trying to use a green one, but it doesn't really matter because you're not going to see it, right? And if I want to go with the center, I think I do want to go with the center. So I'm going to start off with this guy. Put it right there. And line that up. Actually, what's going to be easier is if I go ahead and poke the holes one at a time and attach everything. That way I can know that I get everything lined up. So I'm going to poke a hole right through the back there. Right through that little red dot that I had left. And then I'm going to take some Scotch tape and I'm going to tape these in place. Now when you're looking at the individual light, you're going to see that there is a metal piece and then there is a kind of a yellowy white piece. The yellowy white piece is actually the LED. It's the bump, and that's what you want to have poking through or shining through your cardstock. I'm going to try doing the poking through because I want to have more light coming through. I'm just going to press that in with my fingernail. And then, of course, we have to test to make sure that that light shows up. Perfect. Okay, and now I can put this right over the top again, and then, again, figure out where I'm going to put the next light. So that one's going to go right behind our little blue one, right in the middle of that circle. Perfect. The next one I want to go right about here where my fingernail is. And if it's off by a little bit, that is totally fine. So I'll poke a hole through that one. Okay, that one needs to go through that hole a bit more so I get more light. Because I want more light. There we go. Okay, so now that one is much brighter. Perfect. So we're going to position this again so we can figure out where do we want the red one, right? Okay, that looks pretty good. And then we've got our ornaments. And I'd say that that is pretty close. It is close enough for me. So next what I'm going to do, we're going to decide where do we want our mechanism. And the main reason I made this is just to make it a little bit easier for when we are positioning everything. And it's got a little place that we can draw a hole. Okay, so we're going to do, our lights are going to go this way. And I'm thinking somewhere over here would be a good place for the button. So we could put it, I think that'll work. So we're going to do that. We're going to put it over here. So now I'm just going to flip this over. It does let you map it out a little easier than doing all the things with this. Now I'll take some double-sided adhesive and attach that to the front of our mechanism. Oh, I need to do one more thing first. Before we adhere everything down, I need to trim up my panel a little bit. Remember I mentioned that I wanted to do that? I'm going to use my decal trimmer for this. Just being careful not to do anything weird with the wires, right? Just trimming off a little bit on that edge so that we've got that fun edge. And then we're going to do the same thing on this other short end. And then on the other side, we can decide how big do we want it. So I'm going to go with 4 by 5 1/4. And that's going to give us a little bit of a border all the way around on our card base. Okay, now I can put this little guy down over in that corner where we were just talking about. Have it a little bit in from the edge. Right about there. Actually, I was going to put it at the bottom, not the top. So let's switch it over. And since I have that already in place there, I'm going to press on it to see exactly where the button is. It is right there. Because I do need to add a push button so they'll know what to do. So now we've got all these wires and it's like, well, those really don't look good. What am I going to do about that? I'm just going to tape them down. This is one of the nice things about using the Easy Light or the Twinkle light is that you can tape this down whichever way you want them. So next what we're going to do is we're going to add some foam to the back. So you guys already know I love my foam. Foam is life. But this is some special foam. This is the foam from Pear Blossom Press. That is the world's best foam tape. This tape is absolutely fabulous. I love this stuff. I wish I could get more of different sizes, which are coming. I am just waiting. Amanda has been wonderful and told me some of the things that she's got in the works, which is fabulous. You guys are going to love it. Anyhow, this stuff is the right thickness for these lights. It's the perfect thickness. It actually matches perfectly. It is... Okay, so yeah, it is double thick tape, so it's the perfect size for what we're going to be using here. So we can put that down onto our cardstock. If you put it down wrong, it is repositionable without tearing your cardstock. But it is permanent after about 30 minutes. Okay, so you are good to go on both ends there. But how many times have you put down your foam in a card and put everything together in the wrong spot? This will help take care of that. So I'm going to cover the back enough so that we're not going to have any saggy middles. So now that we've got everything nice and flat on our card, we can go ahead and put these on there. I see the dots, but let's make sure we get this lined up right. I'm going to press the button. And now I can start putting this down right over where I said that I wanted them. There we go. And now I'm going to put a block over the top so I can let that dry because we are gluing it onto that nice textured surface. So another wonderful thing about this foam tape is how easy the release paper pops off. Fabulous. Actually, before I go further, let me go ahead and put a little bit of tape on the back of the mechanism too, so that it will hold on to the card base. And you just saw me put it down where I didn't want it. So let's do that again. It's not going to rip anything. I'm just trying to keep the tape in place. There we go. We'll try that one more time. There we go. That, I think, looks fabulous. All that's left is for us to test, of course. But all that's left is for us to put a sentiment on here and label the button. So I picked this sentiment out of that stamp set. Wishing you a joyful holiday season. Yeah. And I did go ahead and stamp and emboss and cut out a little bitty press here to go right over the button, which we've already got marked in red right there. So I'll put that right down. There we go. And I've decided I'm going to pull out a few gems and add those to the mix too, to add a little extra sparkle to our tree. But I could. I think I am. I don't use this nearly as often as I used to, but I've got some Spectrum Noir shimmer pens. I'm going to add some extra shimmer to our ornaments. So they've got the shine of the embossing and a little extra shimmer of glitter from my shimmer pen. Awesome. And then we're going to add some gems too. And that's going to finish up that card. I think this is lovely. And it has that fun twinkle. So one thing I almost forgot to share with you guys. In that stamp set from Pear Blossom Press is this big light bulb. And you're probably wondering, what in the world is that for? Well, that is so that you can stamp on the back. Handmade for you, with a light bulb where you can sign it, and they of course will then know that it's a light up card if they read the back, but you never know. So that's what I'm going to be doing on the back of all of my light up cards going forward. Anyway, you guys, yeah, hope you enjoyed this. And one of my gems fell off. Oh no, let's put it back on there because it didn't wait for it to dry. So that's going to finish up this card using Simon Hurley's Retro Christmas for those lovely ornaments and a lineup card that twinkles. I love how that looks. Oh my goodness. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. If you're interested in lineup cards, be sure to check out this video over here. Yeah, check out that video and I will catch you in the next one. So bye guys.